God used Noah, whom he described as a righteous man by comparison with other people in his time. He certainly was, but he wasn't a sinless man. Neither were any of his sons or his sons' wives. They were all sinners, and the redemption that came out of that didn't result in a world that suddenly became without sin. In fact, God even made a new promise after the flood, that he would never again destroy the earth with a flood because of the continued sinfulness of man's heart. So what we wind up with as we look at Noah is we see a Savior there, but a very flawed Savior. And because of that, we long for one who is not flawed. If we follow through the biblical story, we find that that longing is met in the person of Jesus Christ, who, by his perfectly righteous life and then his atoning death on the cross, his burial and his resurrection from the dead, his ascension into heaven and his being seated at the right hand of God to rule over all things, can bring not only forgiveness of sin and reconciliation with God to individual sinners, but also the increasing turning back of the effects of the curse of God on the earth. The Apostle Paul talks about this in Romans chapter 8, where he says that the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly in terms of itself, but rather in hope, in the hope that God had, which is an infallible hope. He's not a frustrated deity. The hope that the creation itself would be restored, would be renewed, and that this would happen as we began to see the effects of the work of Christ in the redeemed people of Christ. So that's a story that goes way beyond just Genesis chapters 6 through 9, the story of Noah, and encompasses the whole plan of the Bible. And unfortunately, Aronofsky's film completely misses this, and godly Christians who carefully study their Bibles should see it and then help their children see the difference.